and welcome to FadeIn, presented by Carnegie Screenwriters. I'm your host, Daisy Jade, and today we have local filmmaker Kevin Hejna. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
All right, well, I hear you've done quite a few projects, some exciting things. How did you get started in the local film business here?
Well, I went to University of Pittsburgh, and this was 1998 to 2002, so I took film there. So
Okay.
I did my 8mm and 16mm classes. And then really the two big things that I really started big was I worked with a local filmmaker named Jamie Myers on his 48-hour film projects. This was around 2010. For people that don't know, the 48-hour film contest is they give you you have 48 hours to write a script, make a film, and then complete it.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
It is really, really intense. So you don't sleep a lot. So,
Yeah.
But it's good. You sleep afterwards. And then I worked on a web series called The Baristas, which is, his name was Justin Kanacki, and it was 1 year of about 20 episodes we shot, and it was a really great film school. It was about one of the few times where actors outnumbered crew members.
Oh, wow.
There was like 20 actors and there were 3 of us, which was great because we all just had to figure out, so I mean, all sorts of stuff like sound, makeup.
Right, that's always the best though. That's the
Right, yeah.
a great way to get a lot of experience and learn.
So it was that sort of year of really learning how to do it, and then eventually you just meet people and you work on one project after another, and I ended up doing ADing work. I did a lot of script supervising work, eventually leading up to hopefully making a few of my own films, which I did my first one in 2013.
Oh, great. Sounds like you've done a lot. Now, did you always want to, get into filmmaking? Did you, grow up watching a lot of movies and thinking, I can do that? Or what was your inspiration, I guess?
Yeah,
getting
no,
into this field?
my mom was a big movie freak too, so
Okay.
she would encourage me to watch a lot of movies. She let me watch everything. And when I was in the playground with a kid, while people were playing kickball, I would go off by myself and talk to myself and all sorts of things. So it was kind of imaginative. But yeah, I was involved with art and then filmmaking probably started around 16 in high school. So.
Oh, cool. So did you do some things in high school as well and just kind of dabbled in it? And then,
Yeah. I would like videotape the class plays.
You alluded to the fact that you eventually wanted to do your own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that you have. Tell me about your first project that you worked on.
The first project was called God is Laughing, and it's about, it kind of sounds like a joke, but it's a very serious drama about a priest and a nun trapped in a war zone, and they capture a soldier, and it's all set up that if they let this soldier go, they'll get shot. So it's all
wow.
So it's all about the ethics of, do they have the right to shoot an unarmed man?
Now, is this something that you wrote? And
Yes.
you came up with the concept? Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. So in that time before, I had several projects which were rather ambitious, and which you sort of learn when you're doing with filmmaking. Just the act of doing it is ambitious enough.
Right.
So I had worked on this filmmaker's film called Nick LaMantia, who had done this very small drama in one room, and it was kind of, I took it as a challenge. So I wanted to see, it's essentially one location, 3 people in a drama. So
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So I did that, met my cinematographer. He was doing for his reel, he wanted to shoot in caves in the middle of winter. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so it was like, they had like a glow stick, so we had like lights trying to simulate, glow
wow.
sticks and stuff. So, and I'm surprised we didn't be killed. There were ice cliffs and stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh.
So it's kind of a bonding thing. So that's how I met my DP, and then through him, I met my producer, who is Erica Knox, who is just wonderful. She does all sorts of stuff, and between the 3 of us, we kind of figured out this project. So.
Great. Yeah, it's always good to have a good team. So.
Yeah, no, filmmaking really is group art. When you see like a film by on the title, you have to realize that's advertising. I mean, really, it's the actors, it's the cinematographer, it's the, I don't know, I kind of describe it as cooking. It's like all the ingredients that you put in the pot, and it boil something, hopefully that tastes good.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Now, with that project, did you showcase it at any film festivals or anything?
It was on WQED. We showed it on
great.
WQED. We've shown it in a couple of local film screenings. I think it was like 3 or 4. So,
Okay.
and we're starting to try to go outside of Pittsburgh now. So we're
Awesome. So have you got, it sounds like you've gotten some cool responses from it then.
Yeah, people seem to appreciate it. So
Okay.
yeah, it was quite an experience. The post-production aspect, and I'd cut my own sort of 16mm films, but I never actually had seen that part of it. You know, you show up on a set and then 6 months later you magically do it on the screen.
Right, yeah.
So it was
yeah.
really cool to see the editing. The music was awesome. Our composer, Zach Morgan, works for Duquesne, and they are the only place in Pittsburgh with a music composition program. So we actually did a live musical score with, like, I think it was like 10 strings and stuff. So to watch that get all put together, which is really, really cool.
Oh, great. Okay, well, we're going to actually go ahead and see a clip of it right now.
Here's where the refugees are holding out. Here is where we meet our extraction contact from the revolutionary forces. We are here, and our pals in the army have patrols running up and down these streets. So in short, we have to get from here to here without getting captured or killed.
I don't suppose you still fly those fancy military helicopters.
I wish. That career ended a long time ago.
How on earth did you become a nun?
I guess God has a sense of humor. How'd you become a priest?
I've wanted to be one since I was 5.
5.
You know, kids play war. I played mass.
This, by the way, is fantastic.
Good. I'll buy the whole bottle.
We're in the middle of a war zone, and you're worried about paying for a bottle of alcohol.
Under Caesar. What is Caesar's? Our friends in the propaganda department are having here. Try and get some sleep.
Wow, I love that. That was really cool.
Well, thank you very much.
I can see why a lot of people are really excited about that project. Did you have another project that you were talking about that you had submitted in another?
There's this local screenwriting contest called Steeltown, the Steeltown Film Factory, and I had written a zombie script, which I had called Zombie Woman. I guess the initial impetus was, I don't know if you've seen the movie Awakenings with Robert De Niro and Robin Williams.
Yeah, I have. But
Yeah, it's basically, it was basically about a zombie that was a zombie for 25 years and they cure, and then as the film goes on, she regresses back. So it allowed you to ask some interesting questions you wouldn't normally ask. She was able to reflect on her past, why she did what she did
Right.
and stuff. So it was all sorts of, so I had submitted it, I had gotten into the top 20 and they gave us some funding and we were able to make that film, which was, if God's Laughing was this, Zombie One was this, it was just huge.
Oh, really?
It was-
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
We had, the makeup that goes into it, the crew stuff that goes,
Oh,
effects,
yeah.
it was something else.
Yeah, with zombies, you definitely have, an intense crew of makeup people, and
Right.
it's probably a lot of fun to.
Yeah, it was actually cool. The guy who did it, Tim Kearns, who actually was his last project in Pittsburgh. He moved to LA, so
Oh,
we got really
wow.
lucky to get him. He did this really cool, airbrushing, like veins on like people's faces and stuff. It
okay.
was really cool. So, but yeah, it was like 30 or 40 people. And the
Wow.
first day we were in this pavilion in this park, and I just like sat back and watched all that.
Oh,
It was
wow.
like, it was something
I'm
else.
sure that made you, as a filmmaker, and you wrote the script, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, just, I can only imagine how exciting that would be to just watch the whole production.
Yeah, it was.
Now, is it something that you're also going to try to
Yeah,
extend outside of the area?
Yeah, it also showed on WQED. We've shown it in
Okay.
3 or 4 film festivals in the area, and we're now starting the process of, having
Well,
other
that's
people.
great. I'm sure you'll get, even more responses by, continuing the exposure of putting it out there. I think actually we have a clip of that as well. So let's go
Awesome.
ahead and take a look at Zombie Woman.
Sweet dreams.
Good night.
I love you, Caroline.
Hello? What's going on?
Well, now, do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on now?
Yeah, I directed a film in August, which is in post-production now, called Power Play, and it's about basically a woman. She wakes up in the middle of the night, and her husband's been kidnapped. She doesn't know where she is. She finds a mysterious envelope. There's a phone call, and she says, "Go kill this guy, or we kill your husband."
Oh, wow.
She doesn't particularly want to do it. She's never picked up a gun in her life, so there's all sorts of suspenseful layers.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of, so it's kind of links to God is Laughing.
Hello?
We have your husband. Go to 101 Wabash Street, apartment 201. Get this man's ID badge. Do this by dawn, or we'll kill your husband. If you call the police, we will kill your husband.
What are you doing here?
We're watching you.
I was going to say, it sounds like you like to really, tackle those just themes of, the internal battle and,
Yeah.
just kind of good versus evil in terms of within ourselves. So is that
Right.
sort of kind of,
Yeah.
the theme that you like to work with, or what
Yeah,
kind of other
I-
films do you like to?
I always like that sort of thing, and and I think it's just the theme of we all have a little bit of good and evil in all of us, and that's sort of what you choose, and I guess sometimes what you don't choose to be, and it's all about. I always find it amazing when somebody in a really intense and chooses to do good. That's very kind of moving sort of thing. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Power Play is kind of about what happens if you choose evil, because I felt that I'd done the one and I needed to explore the other.
Okay, that's very
So-
cool. That's very cool. Now, what is your favorite, movie genre? Like, what kind of films do you like to watch?
I'm a big sci-fi fan, and I think I like sci-fi because you can tackle things that maybe you can't necessarily do with drama. It's the classic Star Trek thing where they tackled racism. They had the aliens was black on one side and the white on the other, and it's like we're not talking about racism, but we are. And I think it's really neat how you can do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So with Zombie Woman, as I said, the internal struggle, we were setting it in the guise of a zombie, but really it's about us.
Right,
So
right.
it's like kind of a mask so you can talk about things, whereas in a drama it would get maybe a little trite.
Yeah.
But it's a zombie film, so.
So then it makes it more fun.
Right. What's the saying? A little spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go
Yeah,
down,
there
right?
you go.
It's,
There you go. And people get distracted by all the cool, fun
Right.
makeup.
I'm a huge space nerd. Actually, a project I'm going to be working on now, they just announced it, the Houston Film Festival is doing this thing called space films, where
Cool.
you have to make a 10-minute space film and then actually use a minute of NASA footage.
Oh, wow. So do you have any ideas for that, or you?
No idea.
Okay.
Wait, I mean, yes, I have tons of ideas.
Yeah. Are you going to try to explore more the, I guess, again, the human element?
Yeah, and I guess the theme of the contest is that you have to explore the significance of space exploration, and what that can do for mankind, and that seems really cool.
Yeah,
So,
especially now, because I feel like, space and space exploration, even going to the moon, is coming back. We're
all those
talking
pictures of Pluto they just released are just
so
amazing.
yeah, I feel like we're definitely starting to get back into that and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
like what's out there, and that always makes for a good film as well.
Yeah.
So now, do you have any plans to potentially move to LA, or do you feel like you find that there's enough resources here in Pittsburgh for you to really?
I really like Pittsburgh. I think it's a really good town that supports artists. If you're going to starve, it's better to do it in Pittsburgh than in LA, and film people do starve on occasion. I'd like to stay here, but I also feel like you can't ever shut doors. If obviously an opportunity came,
Right, of
Of course I
course.
would explore it, but I'm not actually a Pittsburgher. I'm originally from Connecticut. I just kind of fell in love with this place.
Oh wow, okay,
So, yeah.
okay. And you came here for school then? And,
Right, yeah.
Okay, all right. Now, do you feel like you want to explore other aspects of? I know that you've done screenwriting. You obviously have directed and produced your own films. Is there anything else that you want to explore that you really want to get good at? Maybe, I know you've done editing too, but
Yeah, I'd like to definitely do more editing. That would be cool. I've done shorts, so I think the next big thing will probably be a feature, which I'm trying to write a couple now.
okay,
So
good. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
that is a lot of work. That is a lot.
But you got to start somewhere. So it sounds like you've had some pretty good success with your shorts so far,
Yeah,
and it'll just lead to lead to even better things. So
right.
cool.
You had the package?
I have the package.
Where is it?
It's here.
We're just gonna start getting mysterious now?
No.
Where's the package?
It's in the car.
In the car.
Yeah.
You left the package in the car.
Where else am I going to leave it?
I don't know, maybe you might want to bring it with you?
I didn't know if you're going to be ready for it yet.
Why wouldn't I be ready?
Well, I don't know. Maybe because I never know what I'm going to get with you. I mean, you are all over the board. You're like Mr. Inevitability. Nobody invites him to the party, but he sure is there.
All right. Well, I was told that I needed to ask you about the number 4. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. Okay. So, with Zombie Woman, we're in this group called Carnegie Screenwriters, and this other writer, Wendy Grube, wrote this script called Always a Bridesmaid, and we actually wrote it at basically the same time, and we would read our scripts at these meetings. And we both submitted it to that Steel Town contest, and it just so happened we both got funding. So it was, both films got made back to back, and Wendy wrote a little cameo for me. She wrote a dating scene in which the lead actress is trying to find a date, basically, and I have this sort of geek character.
4, that's my favorite number.
Oh?
I also like 12, 18, 34, and 66. What about you?
Well, I'm an interior designer and I have.
No. What's your favorite number? I'm like 5, do you? Hate 5.
So I guess you added a lot to that film by just coming up with that, you know?
Well, the lines were there. It was just, yeah, it was. So I dabbled a bit with acting too.
Okay,
but,
very cool.
Yeah,
very
so.
cool. Yeah, your little improv moment then, you know, made you shine in that film, I'm sure.
I don't know if shine is the right word.
Well,
It's a very good reason why I go usually behind the camera.
yeah, but it sounded like it made a lot of people on set laugh, I'm sure. So,
Yeah,
oh, that's
so,
fun. Okay.
cool.
Now, have you entered a lot of other screenwriting projects? I heard that you mentioned the Carnegie Screenwriters. Is that how you got involved with even writing to begin with, or?
No, actually, I had found out about it through a friend, and actually I had God is Laughing, so I had already done writing before.
Oh, okay.
But it's a really good group. They do things where like they help you workshop, they give you really solid advice, you know,
okay.
and it's writers helping each other, so it's really helpful. But yeah, I've probably written, I don't know how many scripts. Wrote one feature, I'm working on a second, and about 5 or 6 shorts. So.
Okay, and I'm assuming that group helps you to give you feedback and.
Yeah, in a very sort of nice way, and they'll do workshops like this comedy screenwriting contest where or comedy screenwriting class where they start with teaching you how to do a joke and then working up to a screenplay.
Okay.
So it's really.
Well, that's
neat.
yeah. That sounds like it's some fun work. You
Yeah.
know, to be able to.
And the guy who teaches the class, Mike Mazzelli, he was a writer in LA and he had come back. So it was really, I mean, it's really
wow.
great. You get writers like that too, are really experienced.
Yeah, that you can learn from and get their input. You know.
I'd actually told, before I'd even written Zombie Woman, he was giving me a ride back to my apartment. I told him the story of Zombie Woman, and I was like, I don't know about this. And he's like, no, that's great. You got to write it. And you know, sometimes
cool.
it's like just that right amount of encouragement at the right moment, you know.
Yep, that keeps you going. So.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, well, it was a pleasure having you here
Well,
today.
thank you very much.
Do you have any advice for any aspiring filmmakers out there?
I guess it would be 2 pieces of advice. One, just simply make your own films. Yeah, it's an art form like any other, and you learn by doing. You know.
So you're suggesting just go for it, even if you don't have, you know,
I mean, you
a
can
degree in it. Just learn by doing it.
And I had mentioned the Baristas, which is the web series I worked on. I learned more from that just 1 year of doing than I did in film school.
Oh, wow.
Just
Well,
from the practice of it. The second advice I would have is try to work on as many other people's films as you can, even if they'll say it's like a production assistant and it'll seem like, oh, I'm getting coffee, I'm not doing it. But don't just do that. Like watch, learn. You can only make so many films because just the process of editing and stuff
Right,
like that.
of course.
But working on other people's films, you meet people to help you with your films.
Absolutely.
I.e. the guy in the cave shot, Tim, who ended up being my DP. But also you end up just learning. You watch other directors. You see things you like, you emulate them, you see things maybe you don't like.
Exactly, yeah,
So.
because everybody does it differently. So that was some great advice. And again, thank you so much for joining us. It sounds like there's a lot of exciting projects you have going on, and really wish you much success in the future, okay?
Thank you very much.
Kevin. All right, and thank you again for joining us for FadeIn TV, presented by Carnegie Screenwriters. I'm your host, Daisy Jade, and we will see you next time.